Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to be talking about how I get away with performing the world's ugliest pass. Alright everyone, so this video is going to be specifically about how to camouflage your sleights. A lot of the sleights that we perform, even if you perform them very well, they sometimes look awkward. I'm going to show you what my classic pass looks like, and before I do so, I need to put out this disclaimer out there letting you know, hide all of the kids, make sure that you go in a corner, turn down the volume, whatever you need to do, because this is ugly, okay? This is what my classic pass looks like. Hideous, right? I'm telling you. My pass is not very clean, but I get away with it 100% of the time. And I'm going to tell you why and how in this video. Before I do that though, I wanted to go ahead and reach out to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys so much for following me. All of you guys that tune in every single week to check out my videos, I really appreciate it. If you're new to my channel and you're watching this video for the first time, go ahead, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because every week I'm going to be putting out some awesome content, whether it be magic videos, advice for magicians, tutorials, magic product reviews, and more. But enough of my yakking. Let's go ahead and jump into how you can camouflage your sleights. First and foremost, we want to talk about misdirection. Now, the easiest ways that you can misdirect someone are asking them a question and by making a gesture. For example, this is what my pass actually looks like in live performance. I'll have a card selected. It'll be placed right back here, just like so. I'm so sorry. What was your name one more time? Jonathan. I'm so sorry, Jonathan. Jonathan, would you say that this is about half the deck? About half, right? So if I were to place it there, that would place your card about halfway down from the top. Give or take a couple cards, right? But the funny thing is all I have to do is wiggle my fingers, and then your card, the 4 of spades, comes right back up to the top again. Now, you may have caught that on the camera, but in live performance, it's 100% misdirected because I'm doing two things. I'm asking a question, and I'm gesturing with my body. And the question I usually ask, like 90% of the time, is, what's your name, right? And the reason for that is because, honestly, I'm trying to remember people's names throughout the routine, so it's very natural for me to ask a few times, I'm sorry, what was your name again? It's just a question that honestly does come up. And on top of that, the number one noise that we as humans like to hear is the sound of our own name. So I'll say, sorry, what was your name one more time? And I'll gesture across, just like this. Now, the way that I actually execute the move is the pass happens as the gesture happens. So we'll see the 10 of spades is on the top. I'll flip it over. I'll bring the packets together just for a second. I'll bring them together. I'll pause. I'll look up. I'll make eye contact. I'll come forward and I'll gesture while I ask the question. Eye contact is a very important part of it as well, because when I make eye contact, it's going to cause the spectator whose name I'm about to ask to look me in the eye, making sure that they don't see this. Now you might be thinking, what about all the other people that might be burning my hands? Well, no magic is happening yet. I simply took the card back, and I'm going to pause for a beat to ask a question. Now, when I ask that spectator the question, everyone else's eyes are going to look at that spectator to wait for his answer. All right? If done properly, using the proper body language, the proper timing, and the proper technique, you will get away with this 100% of the time because it's so natural. I can get away with my very ugly pass because it's motivated. It creates misdirection. Now, the second way that you can do this is to create what we call a motion blur. Now, a move that most of us are familiar with that makes good use of the motion blur is the Twirl Change. For those of you who haven't seen it, it looks like this. You take the Queen of Hearts, give it a little shake just like this, and it actually changes into the 2 of Diamonds. Now, if I were to just perform that move straight out without the twirl, like this, obviously you can see what's happening. The cards are just flipping over. But by adding a motion blur, it hides the sleight. Now, I'm not saying that when you do your pass, you should be doing this. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there is a theory in magic that says that the bigger motion covers the smaller motion. So, for example, if I were to perform, let's say, a spread pass, right? So I can show, what is this, the King of Spades, just like this. It goes into the center of the pack. Now I can bring the cards up just like this, bring them up so that the audience can see everything that's going to happen. What happens is during this motion of me bringing the cards up here, I'm actually executing the turnover pass. And it's completely shielded by this motion blur, right? The pack comes up, and all it looks like I did was bring the deck up this way. Now, two things are going to happen for the audience. Number one, this motion blur is not going to let them see that smaller motion because, like I said, the bigger motion is going to cover the smaller one. And number two, a lot of times spectators, they'll see me coming up this way, and their eyes, it won't follow the deck along like this, but what ends up happening is their eyes actually beat me to where I'm going to go, right? So if I were to say, here we have the 6 of spades, we place it into the pack. I'm going to hold the deck up just like this so you can see everything that happens. Their eyes usually go from here to here, not following the deck all the way across. So if the misdirection happens somewhere, or excuse me, if the move itself, the sleight, happens somewhere in the middle, it's not that big of a deal because they're not even going to see it anyways. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say that the bigger motion covers the smaller one, I'm not telling you to do this, right? The move still needs to look natural. Me holding the cards down here and then bringing them up here is a very natural thing to do, especially if I want everyone in the audience to be able to see what's happening. I could do the move just like this, and then the card appears on top. So it's very easy. The third thing that you can do to help cover up your sleights is perform the sleight in the offbeat. Now before I talk about the offbeat, let's talk about what it is to hit on a beat. When you're hitting on a beat, it means that you are bringing focus to something. Think about performing magic almost like music, right? There's sort of a certain rhythm to it. So if I was to take a card, right, have it put into the middle, right here is a beat. Everyone's paying attention to what I'm doing. So if I stop for a second, look over here, gesture, or look up and ask a question, I'm performing the move on the offbeat. In other words, I'm performing the move at a moment where no magic is happening. So to go back to our original explanation of me pointing to someone, gesturing, asking them a question, that's happening in the offbeat. I'm not doing it like this. All right, so we have your card right here in the middle. Jonathan, what's your name? Like, that would be kind of weird because, first of all, I said, Jonathan, what's your name? You shouldn't say that. And second of all, because there wasn't a pause, there wasn't a beat there, there wasn't any kind of motivation behind it. It was just, you know, all right, so here's your ace of diamonds and it's in the middle. Jonathan, what's your name? You know, that's weird. But if I put the card in the middle, just like this, magic's going to happen, magic's going to happen. Wait a minute. I'm so sorry. What was your name again? What I've done is I've created a pause. And that pause is going to throw your rhythm off. And 9 times out of 10, if you throw your own rhythm off, it's going to cause your audience to kind of look up for a second because nothing's happening, right? And you could do that same thing in the turnover pass. I could say the 3 of diamonds is here. We're going to put it into the middle in just a moment. Jonathan, have you ever seen sleight of hand before? Right? By asking Jonathan, have you ever seen sleight of hand before? What I'm doing is I'm creating an offbeat so that I can come up and I can do the move, right? And again, it's going to misdirect them. So it's very, very easy to do. Now, lastly, we've talked about the 3 main ways that you can motivate your moves and create the magic on the offbeat and even to cause misdirection. But what you can do as often as possible is to combine all 3 together, right? So I'm going to try to do that using this turnover pass one more time. So we see right here your 6 of diamonds. If I place the 6 of diamonds somewhere about the middle, Jonathan, have you ever seen sleight of hand before? Right, so you're aware that when I put the card in the middle, and I just give the deck a little shake like this, I can actually get your card to come up to the top, right? So we've done all 3 things. Ace of spades goes into the middle. We paused for a beat to ask a question. That creates an offbeat. The audience is going to look up. For those that didn't look up, I'm going to hide the move with the motion blur, and I'm going to ask a direct question to the spectator who chose the card. That should get the rest of the audience to kind of look at that spectator. Now, if they didn't, it's okay because the motion blur hides the move anyway. Now, my turnover pass isn't that bad. My turnover pass is okay. I wouldn't say it's great, but it isn't terrible. My classic pass, on the other hand, as you guys have seen, is garbage, right? So I misdirect that move very, very heavily. And I get away with it just about every single time. Well, everyone, that's it. My name is Michael O'Brien. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you guys did and you'd like to see more videos like it, again, please go ahead, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions for me, if you'd like me to go a little bit more in depth on this advice segment, or if you have a question that I haven't answered yet and you'd like to see it answered in a future video, please be sure to go ahead and leave a comment below. I'll be more than happy to go ahead and answer it for you. Now, don't go anywhere, because next week we're going to be talking about different ways that you can get your audience involved in your effect and get them emotionally connected to your performance. My name is Michael O'Brien. Again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to go ahead and hit this little button over here to subscribe. And if you guys want to see a past video that I did, or if you want to binge watch my channel, you're welcome to do that too. Just go ahead and click on this little thing over in this area. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next week.